Brought to you by the Capital One Savor Card. With Savor, you earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, and at grocery stores. That's unlimited cash back on ordering takeout from home, or unlimited cash back on tickets to concerts and games. So grab a bite, grab a seat, and earn unlimited 3% cash back with the Savor Card. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey there, fictional friends, and welcome to another episode of Fully Booked. I'm Megan.
And I'm Shireen.
I'm Arthur.
Hey,
no,
look
he's
at
not here.
Okay, there, intruder lady.
No.
Actually, technically, you're the intruder on this podcast. Not on our other one, but on
No.
this one you are. What do you mean, no?
I disagree.
Okay. All right. Whatever. Oy.
I'm a special guest.
There's three of us again.
Yay.
We have a guest star. I like the guest star episodes because they're just ridiculous. Because
I don't know about star, Megan. Like,
It's like a fading light at the end of the tunnel.
I thought that is. You're talking about yourself.
the guest
Yeah.
fading
Wow.
light at the end of the.
Yeah, it's just like a smidge
That's
reflecting
too
on the
long.
mirror.
He's the guest, like, weak lamppost.
Like a sheen
Oh
lamp.
my God. Stop it, both of you. I love that it's everything but ordered from Shein. Okay. We are finally going to be able to sit down and talk about the Odyssey. Sorry, we've had a couple of false starts here and the recording didn't work. And now we've had to start over and I'm annoyed. So
Yeah, we're a little titchy, so just bear with us here as we kind of get warmed up again. We had a great bit a minute ago where I accidentally revealed Arthur's like secret identity like 3 times.
I wish people could see his face.
Stop.
In the name of love.
Oh my God.
So the Odyssey.
I could cheer Megan up in no time just by making fun of Arthur, like
I'm gonna
immediately.
cry. I'm gonna cry. Sorry. Okay. So yes, we are talking about the Odyssey today. We all went to see this.
Mhm.
So luckily now we've been able to kind of, spend 3 hours in this movie and we are going to be able to kind of break things down just a little bit more in detail and kind of get into it. We can't do the whole thing because if we did,
No.
God, we'd be here for
It
5
would be
hours.
an Odyssey.
Ha ha ha. Oh, boy.
Ah.
But yes, that's exactly correct. So we're not going to do that. We are going to just, we're going to touch on some things and we're going to touch on what we liked and what we didn't like about it because there is a ton of discourse about this film. It seems to live in every single possible, I guess, range of emotion for many people. They thought it was the best movie they've ever seen. They thought it was a giant piece of shit, or they were like, it was a movie.
What?
Yeah. There's so many different opinions.
People
that
think
I've
it's
seen.
bad.
Oh, definitely.
I
How?
struggle with that. Like, I'm just
Mm.
like, no. Like, yeah.
The classics people think it's bad.
Oh.
The people who are really attached to the source material don't
Okay,
like it.
come on. The movie is pretty fucking good.
Well, there was a lot of talk about some very particular casting choices.
I know, whatever. It's a
initially.
movie. It's an
Uh,
interpretation of
It's
the
also
story.
it's also not a real story. I would like to
Well,
indicate
no.
to people.
No,
It's not.
it is a spoken epic poem that's
Right.
been passed down for 3,000 years. Like, so
Yeah.
unless your name is Agamemnon and you have an actual, like rendition of the story, like, this is an interpretation.
This is for sure, like you said, an interpretation of stories that have been passed down and changed and changed and changed over time.
Yes.
That it became this whole epic. But really, when they meant the Cyclops, it was just a guy with one eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What I
have,
mean?
like, an eye
no,
book.
he met me. They met me.
Oh no!
Like, oh, this chick's missing an eye. It's not working properly there. Maybe she's a Cyclops.
Maybe
And
there's
I'm like,
something wrong with
wow, I am offended on behalf of all people with one eye. Thank you.
As you should be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an interpretation
I-
of a story, and you can basically do whatever the fuck you want with it. So
100%. So I know we've already done this, but let's do it again. Everybody go through. Does everybody want to just touch on kind of initial thoughts coming out of the movie and like how you feel about it right now?
I mean, sure. When I saw it, like I was saying after we spoke about it a little bit,
Mhm.
it's fucking long, sure, but I'm never bored. There's always something happening. It is always very interesting.
Mhm.
The acting is great. I liked trying to catch all the people who are kind of like, who have little smaller roles, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Trying to place them, you know, because there's that guy from Warlord.
Overlord. And
Close
Three-Body
enough.
Problem and
And
stuff.
Three-Body Problems,
Yes.
all that stuff. Yeah, because he's one of the warriors, but he has like a helmet on most of the time, so you can't really see it, but
Oh, really?
you can catch.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's a good few people that
Yeah.
there's a good few people like this,
Yeah.
so that was really fun. It's fucking incredible to look at, you know.
The sets, the costumes.
The sets, the costumes. Like, I'm reading through some of the trivia and stuff of it. They've done a lot more with this movie than you think.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
It's not just green screen. Like that giant
No.
Cyclops, it was a fucking puppet.
Oh, sure.
It was like a 10 feet.
Oh,
puppet.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I
they've
want to
done
talk about
stuff.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
For me, when the movie ended, so everybody, sorry, we've already recorded this part, so like I'm trying to like kind of redo what I said earlier, but leading up to the release of this movie, because I'd studied it twice,
Mhm.
I was like, like it's like I really don't feel like sitting through this. And so Megan was going to just record it with Arthur without me. But then I was like, no, I can't fucking do that. Like I'm getting in on this. And when the movie ended, I looked at my husband and I'm like, that was a fucking movie right there. Like that was awesome. You know, like it didn't feel like it was 3 hours. I agree with you there. And I thoroughly enjoyed just the whole thing. Like we were saying, it's an adaptation. So I took myself out of being married to any like specific points of the story. But I really enjoyed it. That was my first impression.
Okay. Yeah. I am maybe just like slightly less enthused than you guys are. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. I thought overall it was like very excellently made. It would be difficult for it not to be with the budget and the people working on it that it did have.
Oh, yeah.
However, I don't know. I did mention this in our previous episode where Shireen and I were talking about setting expectations for the film and kind of what we thought we might get out of it. And I did mention that there was an aspect of the story that I thought, you know, I might be taken out of a little bit because this film, because it's such a stacked cast and it's extremely well-known people, not just like people that you've seen in one thing before. It kind of eventually starts to become a little game of like spot the person that you recognize in it. And I know that Arthur, you just mentioned that you liked that. I find that takes me out of a story a little bit more because I'm just thinking about where I know the person from. So I'm like, oh yeah, and then on top of it, I go, oh, I love that person. And they have no lines and then they disappear. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what the point of that was. Okay.
You have too much information in your brain.
Yeah, you'll have to give me an example of that because I think I only like caught the main ones, like even like John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Even him, I was like whoosh, like right over my head until Dan was like, "Oh, that's the guy who's been in all the stuff there," and I'm like, "The who?"
The who now?
Well,
Yes.
So the second in command of Odysseus.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He was literally in your Enola Holmes 3.
He played Watson.
Yes, I know. Yes,
Yeah.
that I did notice. I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up,
Yeah, that's
Watson?" Yeah.
Yeah, played by an actor named Hamish Patel. He was great.
He was great. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. But let's get into the meat of it all because I feel like, again, I did mention this earlier, but like if I get into naming cast, I'm going to be here all day. So we're not going to do that. We'll name them as we go, shall we?
Yes.
Yeah.
And get into the more major plot sort of sides of things. So general spoiler warning for some plot beats and some other things for this 3,000-year-old story. You're welcome. Spoilers.
Be-do. Okay.
So I think, so Shireen, I think that coming out of this, we can all kind of agree that the film actually follows the source material fairly closely, just in terms of like overall story beats.
Yeah, it really does. And it was funny because like as we sat down for the movie, I said to my husband, I'm like, do you know the story of the Odyssey? And he's like, yeah, it's the one where like Odysseus's son goes and looks for him. And I'm like, no. And then I started being like, oh shit, did I give the wrong summary in our like summary episode? But then as the movie was progressing, I was like, ooh, okay. I was okay here.
I mean, there's an element of that happens because Tom Holland, their Telemachus, he does go looking for Odysseus or answers about Odysseus, I should say. But that's definitely not the main plot of the film.
Yeah. And they definitely hit on all the major plot points. And they did it so well. I find I can't wait to get into them. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of like the minor plot beats and things like that. Yeah, so they did do a good job in terms of kind of vacillating back and forth between present day versus what previously took place in the story, you know, that we're following Odysseus, and it's post the Trojan War, and he is leaving with his men to find their way back to Ithaca. However, obviously on the way, he pisses Poseidon off. Good job. And then, of course, incurs his
It was
wrath.
the Cyclops thing, right?
Yeah, because the Cyclops is, I forget what its name is, but it is a son. He's the son of
Poseidon.
Yeah.
And so he kills him, basically. Well, he doesn't kill him, but he like injures him grievously.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
so, of course, they have to get on a ship to go back to Ithaca. So, like,
Yo,
a
so
fucking
that scene,
idiot.
apparently, like I mentioned, the
Yeah.
whole Cyclops was a real giant
big
ass
puppet thing?
puppet.
Yes.
They also filmed it in a real cave.
Oh, cool.
That whole scene was fucking terrifying. And I know
Very
that
scary.
I got jelly legs when it comes to like horror, so I'm not a very good reference point. But Dan, who loves horror movies, said he was freaked out by that scene, and he's like, I didn't think I could get scared by movies anymore.
The Cyclops, I mean, the whole sequence, I think, is scary because of the whole opening and closing of the cave bit,
Yeah.
where you're like, oh my fucking God, they're just stuck in there. That's awful.
Mhm.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, when you think about it for more than about 5 seconds, you're like, oh, this is horrible. And yes, and all of the sneaking out that they do and all of the things that they have to do to try and like make it through and out. You do have that moment where that's it. They do showcase that Odysseus is not like an infallible or perfect human
Yeah.
being, because he just shoots the extra fucking arrow at him, and you're like, what is
No
the matter
need.
with you?
You're like,
Yeah.
why did you do that? Like,
You
just
didn't need to
leave.
do it.
No.
You did
And
not.
even his men are like, why the fuck would you do that? That's
Yeah, they all
stupid.
got mad at him for what he
Yes.
did.
100%, which is completely understandable.
And I did
So
appreciate that, because even in our previous episode, how I alluded to the fact that Odysseus is not supposed to be he's not supposed to be a perfect hero. He's supposed to be like a gray character. So I was like, oh, good. Like, they are showing that the man isn't perfect, you know?
yes, yeah, I agree. I would maybe argue that to a degree they do a little bit too much of like the forgiving of like, oh,
agree.
but he's Odysseus and so
Yes.
it's so great that we're just going to be okay with it. And you're like, I mean, he does make mistakes and stuff, and it's okay to, you know, point that out without
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. I thought that was a little silly, but anyway.
I guess. I mean, he grew a real beard. You got to dedicate
Yes.
the
Thank you for that.
character.
Thank you for that.
Matt Damon, yeah, he actually grew a real beard. Apparently.
Thank you, Arthur.
Thank you for that fun fact.
That has enriched our discussion tenfold.
Cut her off right now.
Oh,
Turn her
I mean,
off.
good for honestly, you know what though? Good for Matt Damon in general. I was like, geez, isn't he in his early 50s now? He's in fucking good shape.
Oh yeah, he looked fantastic. Like he really committed to this part. I really have to give him that. Like, I was like, okay, man, I think this was like the role of your career. Like, I got to give you that, you know?
Yeah, you know, he was really going for it. So yeah. So obviously he's Odysseus. He's trying to make his way back to his wife, Penelope, and his son, Telemachus, who he left when he was like an infant, essentially. Telemachus, like we mentioned, is played by Tom Holland, who, I mean, this is something that happens all the time. I think we can all agree with this. We love Tom Holland. He is my favorite. He's my favorite Spider-Man, I would say, because I think he's incredibly well suited to that character. But unfortunately, I would argue that perhaps he's only well suited to playing one type of character.
Yeah, I unfortunately have to agree with you there. Like, I really want to love Tom Holland. Like, I really do. But I am concerned about the fact that he keeps getting pigeonholed into like this like little boy role.
Yeah.
And he plays it really well. And I'm like, I just think it's too bad, because I wanted more for this man's career.
Agreed. And there's just something that I think is just he's unfortunately been quite typecast. And I'm not too sure if he did something vastly different, if it would work.
I mean, I don't know. He did Chaos Walking, which apparently was okay.
He was a little boy in that
really?
one.
Yes.
Okay, what about Uncharted? I liked him in Uncharted.
He was like a little kid version.
Like a little kid in Uncharted.
For fuck's sake.
Like a little baby version of Nathan Drake, which is
Cherry.
weird.
Apparently he was very good in Cherry.
I haven't watched it. I
seen
can't
that one.
speak to that. I can't.
There was another one that he was in with Robert Pattinson, something about the devil.
Oh yes, the devil all the time. But that one again, I would argue that he had one of the slightly weaker performances in the film, even though he was like the main character.
Well, Robert Pattinson was fantastic in that movie.
He killed it. He fucking killed it in this
He fucking killed it in this. He is a fantastic actor.
Oh, I love him.
In
so
general, yeah.
He's so good. So
He was so hateable in this
Oh, he
one.
was-
but,
Oh my god, I want to
instantly-
just slap him
Oh,
and
he
I
was
know,
strangle him
right?
all at once.
incredible.
Yeah.
He was incredible at it. So Robert Pattinson plays Antinous, who is one of the many suitors who have taken root essentially permanently in Ithaca since a number of years, I assume, ago, since not too long, I guess, after Odysseus left Ithaca, because they have all rooted themselves there to try and become king. And as soon as Penelope finally makes a choice of, deciding, oh, fine, I guess my husband is dead and he's not coming back and I need to marry someone, that of course that next person will ascend and take over shortly thereafter. And so that's the goal. And Antinous is kind of the main one of these suitors who has lived in Ithaca since he was a child and knew Odysseus before he left to go off to war, and weaseled his way out of service at that time and gave it off to a character who actually is not in the Odyssey. Sinon is not actually, or Sinon is not actually in the Odyssey. They are a different character. He does appear, I think, in some of the stories, but he's not actually a character that appears in the Odyssey. But I actually liked him as an insert. I thought he was like a good partial, like, kind of way of telling an additional portion of the story. And I thought Elliot Page was very good at that.
Elliot Page was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Elliot Page-
sequence. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That sequence when he kind of Odysseus kind of gets told the prophecy of what's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Elliot Page is like, with all the mud and
Because he's dead.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because
Yeah.
that sequence of him
That was
doing
beautiful.
that was
Very good.
absolutely amazing.
Fantastic. Like, I would say the whole addition of that character to give more depth to Antinous. Is that what his name was?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Antinous is right. Yeah.
Like, it took me a minute to kind of understand the link between the two of them, because they kind of because his version of what happened was not the same of what actually happened with Odysseus. It took me a minute to kind of understand like the through line between them and like what was going on, but I really felt that it enhanced the hatred of Antinous as a character, and B, it added like a layer of depth to Odysseus, which you don't get in like the original kind of reading of the poem.
Because you don't have his like mentorship of the Sinon character. Like, they don't have that between them. So that's cool. That was a really good kind of fun addition. Obviously Penelope's played by Anne Hathaway. We don't really, have to talk about that too much, because she was as good as she always is in everything, basically. I guess my one thing with the writing, and again, like, I don't remember big portions of Penelope's kind of part of the Odyssey itself. I guess my one gripe with it is that it's almost like they wanted this to be a more modern version, because I feel that in like a modern retelling of this, Penelope herself would just take over Ithaca and she'd be the queen, and she'd be like, everybody else can fuck off. And if my husband comes back, cool. But if not, I'm just going to be in charge. But they spend a lot of time showcasing how frustrated and how angry she is. And it's kind of too bad, because it becomes a bit toothless at the end when then she's like, oh, my husband's back and I love him and now we're just going to leave together. And I was like, well, what was the point of all that dialogue then?
Yeah, it was an interesting, I wasn't sure where they were going to go with that, because there were two moments in the story where they were trying to be a little bit more like
progressive,
feminist,
progressive
or whatever. The one was Anne Hathaway having like a meltdown at Telemachus about how she has been ruling Ithaca for the last 20 years and they still want to give it to a man.
Yep.
That being said, I do have to say, like, given the story itself and, the fact that I could tell by that point that she gave that monologue or whatever, that they weren't deviating so far from the original story that they were going to be like, oh, and now Penelope gets to take over and like, take the throne. So I'm like, okay, like, I can understand her frustrations as a woman and a queen, because it's like, fuck, like, I've been running this show for 20 years and you assholes are still at my door trying to make me marry one of you for no reason, because you want me to pop out another baby, And then there was, of course, Circe. And I think we need to talk about Circe because that whole scene was fucking fantastic.
It was great.
It was really
that.
cool.
Yes,
the way that she did the magic, and it was going.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Actually, no, all the visuals of it were wonderful, and I love that we did get actual shades of it, because it's true that in a lot of the source material, Circe is very often just treated as like an evil witch.
Okay,
but it's cool, and I think that now that we do also exist in the year that we exist in, we have already gotten some updated versions of Circe's story, because there have been retellings like Madeline Miller's retelling of the story and everything like that. So I think that's great, and I think that there were maybe shades of that to a degree kind of sprinkled throughout the scenes that Circe has in the film. And on top of that, obviously the entire sequence of it, to your point, I think was just fantastic. The way that she like
the way
molds
that
the bodies.
That's what I'm saying.
into
So
the
it wasn't
animals.
like, it was kind of magic, but also I guess not
cool.
really, because it's not just like whoopity whoop and I spin my
Oh, it
little
was so
magic
cool.
wand and
No.
things transform.
No, things
She
were much
had to
more,
work at it, and that was fucking intense.
things were much more grotesque back
Oh,
in those
yeah.
stories. They were not like
They were.
happy, cute little magic with a wand and you flick it
That's
and that's
it.
it. No, not at all.
No. So like at that point, like, so if we're following kind of generally the plot of what's going on, is that they get through the Cyclops, then as they're kind of on their boat again, they've pissed off Poseidon, and so they have to keep moving forward and getting whatchamacallit, not rations,
Oh yes, like
just food.
food and supplies,
food,
and
like
stuff. Yes,
stocks of stuff.
yes.
And because they've decided to not go the route that they should go, basically, this is why they keep getting into trouble, right? Like they should just follow Agamemnon and his men, but Odysseus still has some fight in him at this point. So he decides to go a different route, which is how they end up with the Cyclops. They are warned by a village not to go the direction that they're going in. Odysseus is still like, strong-headed enough that he's like, no, I'm going this way. And then they end up on Circe's like shores. But by this point, there's been so much garbage that's happened between Odysseus and his choices after the Cyclops that his men are like, no, bitch, you stay in the ship here and we're gonna go, because we're done with you and your leadership, like air quotes,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so they head up there, and I just thought that the way that they did this whole scene with Circe was just fantastic. Like I was like, I had my face in my hands the whole time, and I'm like, oh my God, what are they gonna do with this? And they did such a good job.
It was interesting to see some of the scenes like this, like the Cyclops sequence, but particularly this one as well, because it's very visceral, and the type of magic that she uses and what she does is very visceral. I could hear people in the theater while we were watching it, because I think this is, again, so Arthur and I are horror people, and we watch a lot of really things that are a lot of like body horror and like really gross stuff. So like I was appreciative of this in general because it looked phenomenal when we were watching it.
100%.
But it was so interesting to hear non-horror people. A lot of people just go to see this movie, right? So it was really interesting to hear the reactions of a lot of the non-horror people. I could hear people shifting around and like making noises, like they were like, while it was happening, and I was like,
yeah, I was like sitting there, and I was like, I don't want to look, but I also want to look. Like I don't want to look, but I also want to look. And like Dan was like ready to like put his hand in front of my face, and like, but I was just like, no, I'm watching. Like I don't normally like this stuff, but man, this is good,
You know what? It's funny because it's extremely rare that like most of the time like this didn't. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like this is just really interesting to see. And I wanted to watch the whole sequence. It's very rare that you cover my eyes when there's anything, but there are
it's
very
only when
specific...
there's harmed animals. That's it.
You did it a couple of weeks ago.
I know.
That's it. When we went to see Evil Dead Burns.
Yeah.
This was great. This is fantastic. This entire sequence is so very cool. And I love that we actually have time to get just at least slight shades of Circe's character, and we're not just like, okay, bye, on to the next. Bye.
Is there any info on why she's on that island with the giants?
Yeah, there's something to do with why she's stuck there, why her sister is the crow. It's a whole thing.
Because
there's
okay, that's fine. Okay, whatever.
She has her entire
read the book, people. I guess.
I actually don't recall, to be honest. And I was very disappointed with myself when I watched this sequence. I'm like, oh man, I wish I remembered the whole Circe like origin story, how she ended up here, and like her like reason for why she is the way she is. But like I think she gives a glimpse into it with her speech about his men, because she turns them into pigs.
Yes.
And she gets really angry with him because she's like, you let them loose here and I'm alone and I'm a woman, and you think these men are so noble, and they have their animalistic urges, and they set themselves on these villages, and so she's basically saying, like, from a woman's perspective, this is what war is, it's like you send your men in, and it's all about like strength and power and vanquishing a people and overcoming. But she's telling him her point of view and like the women who are part of war and what their point of view is. And I feel like it contributes to kind of his character at the end and the epiphany that he has at the end, which we'll talk about with Penelope and Athena sitting there,
Yes. Yeah. I do think it does work very well, and it weaves very well into just particularly that's at Odysseus's through line in terms of like his character beats throughout the course of the story, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And she says when he finally, gets her to change his men back into men, she says to them, like, I can't remember exactly, but it's like, come back to your disguise or something.
That's it.
Yes, she does. That's what she's whispering. She's like mumbling it as she does it. She's like, come back to your disguise, because she says when she's turned them into pigs, I've just turned them into what they really are.
Yeah.
Like, this is their true form.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty good.
It's not nice.
Well, I can only imagine.
I get it. No, I get it.
Soldiers
It's
coming
true.
back from that situation, they'd be disgusting.
Well, look, a lot of the times they did show them being merciful and really just being there for food, but doesn't mean that it happens every single time.
No, definitely not. And I think it might have painted like a slightly nicer picture than what the reality would have been. Anyway, yeah. Yes. So we do get a lot of this. Obviously, all of this is happening because Odysseus is marooned on this small island with Calypso, who he's been with for, it turns out, again, spoilers, but it turns out 7 years that he's been with her on the island. And she has partially kept information from him and kept him like bewitched in a way. And he has also maybe partially chosen to forget to a degree.
Don't eat flowers that someone gives you.
Yeah, the lotus flowers are a big thing in Greek mythology because they make you like lose time and forget. Following all of this, obviously, that's it. He does realize what has actually happened, and he's like made the decision that it's time for him to actually get home. Everyone else is dead. Well, the men are dead. So he's made the decision to go back home, which
it's like
he does.
That guest that doesn't want to leave your house.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, but Calypso doesn't want him to leave
It's
either.
true, yeah.
He doesn't. No,
he's like, no, you need to remember, but wouldn't it be so nice if you just stayed here and we collected some shells together and made necklaces?
That is pretty much what it is. She's just having she obviously is struggling with the idea of it herself as well. And obviously at the same time, we have gotten like a good few scenes in which like Odysseus is working through all of this by speaking with the goddess Athena, who's played by Zendaya, who is helping him work through. And she takes on, basically what we find out is that she has taken on the physical form of a girl who I can imagine was maybe like a servant or something in Troy.
Actually, you know what my theory is? So when they say that Agamemnon sacrificed his daughter?
Oh yeah, I know. I was wondering about that too. I was like, is that what she would have looked like?
I think she's supposed to be Zendaya. I think that's the physical form that she's taken, because he could not believe that somebody would sacrifice their only child
because it's crazy
for success in and it wasn't even and I want to go into this so much with his revelation at the end, so I'm gonna pause on that thought there because we need to get to that whole bit.
Yeah. Well, look, okay. We can't, if we go through the whole story, we're going to be here for ages, but.
Okay, well, let's just talk about the hell scene, though.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about the stuff to do with Hades. He gets home, and then we'll kind of wrap things up, but we can just talk about final thoughts, performances, all those things, because there are a lot of different elements to it. So
there's so much.
So in the journey, he does end up going to hell. He has to go to Jesus Christ, what is it called in Greek mythology?
Hades.
Well, he goes to
the underworld.
The underworld. Thank you.
Underworld, yeah.
So he goes to the underworld because he needs to hear the prophecy, and he basically, is given an idea of what's going to happen next.
Yes.
He speaks to all of his dead men, and Agamemnon speaks to him, gives him some advice.
Mm-hmm.
Sinon speaks to him, kind of gives him a big dump of information.
Yes.
And then he is the only one who's allowed to listen to the prophecy about what's going to happen next, because otherwise his men will know and they will make different choices.
Mhm.
So like we go through all this. That was a fantastic scene. It was just really creepy.
Yes.
Really well done.
They filmed that in Iceland in June.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Yeah, because he speaks with, that's it, all of the dead soldiers. He speaks with Tiberius, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
It was literally like filmed during an all-day light of, when they have just
yes.
light all the time, even
Yes,
though
yes,
it's
yes,
like
yes.
middle of the night.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's how it had that eerie glow. To
Mhm.
it.
Yes.
That's it.
They're like, we
So-
didn't even need to change the lighting. It's
Oh, no.
nature.
Super cool, man. I was like, wow, okay.
That's awesome.
And then he can, so to your point, then he starts waking up from his Calypso daydream.
Yes.
Because he's remembering all this, and then essentially it's kind of the journey of how he gets home from there. And she reveals to him that all of his men are dead, and he has to kind of lament that fact. But at that point, he's taken into account Agamemnon's advice of don't just go home and be like, yo, what's up, bitches, I'm home, it's been 20 years. He said, like, hide yourself, disguise yourself, which Odysseus does do.
Assess the situation.
Yes, exactly. And the only person that he kind of reveals himself to is Telemachus after they do come into contact with each other. At first he doesn't, but eventually that is revealed essentially before the end of the story, and we are given
Through the dog.
I know.
It was so sad.
Oh, the dog. It was so sad. So he looked very terrier like, that dog, and he reminded me so much of my dog.
Yeah.
And I just spent like the next 2 hours of the movie being like, I just want to go home and see my dog.
And he's like, because that was my thing at the beginning, right? Is that Argus the dog is 20 years old, and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
When we realized that, I was like, excuse me, what?
20 years old, and also apparently super rare.
Yeah.
In like real life, it's played by a Portuguese podengo.
Podengo.
Yeah, which only noted, at least
Yes.
allegedly, there's only like about 75 left in the world.
That's cuckoo.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
nuts. Whatever. He was great.
I know, he was really
so
good.
cute.
Great character. But yes, so Odysseus does wind up making his way home. He disguises himself as a beggar. He winds up kind of revealing himself to Telemachus, and they come up with a plan because Penelope has basically been backed into a corner in which she has no choice really but to choose one of these stupid suitors to marry. And so she decides that to kind of circumvent some of this, she will create a kind of a tournament or a test or a challenge that none of them will really be able to complete. There's this hunting bow that only Odysseus could string. He was the only one who was strong enough to be able to do it properly. So the challenge is to string the bow, which is basically impossible for most people, and then shoot through 12 axes or crossed axes and hit the target. And whoever is able to do that she'll marry them, basically is what it is, because she pretty much knows that this is like an impossible challenge and no one's going to be able to do it. And we do have a whole sequence in which that happens. Now, the character of Antinous is probably the slightly smart one because he tries to work around it, where he's like, oh, we're so humble and we're just happy to be here.
No, he goes, you've made your point. Nobody else can do this. So let's just kind of stop beating around the bush and just choose the fairest of them all.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is not him.
Of course. In all of this, Odysseus, disguised as a beggar, comes in and he's just like, I would like to compete. And everybody's like, ha 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 ha. You're so silly. Yes. But of course, obviously, because he's Odysseus, he strings the bow and he shoots the target. Because Dodoy. I think you said that in our last episode when you were talking about it. She just went to, and he reveals himself and is like, 'tis I.
Which basically is what happens in the movie.
Essentially. And then it all devolves, of course, into a whole action and fight sequence because all of the suitors are like, nah, fuck this. I'm going to kill this guy. And so he has to take on the majority of them until it becomes very clear that he's winning. And a bunch of them just take the knee because they're like, never mind. Sorry.
They're like, I would rather not die. So
correct.
Cool.
So they're like, I take it back.
They were not Jon Snow.
No, definitely not.
No. But that whole sequence with Robert Pattinson, if you didn't hate him up until that point in the movie, you fucking hated him.
Yo, he was such a bitch. He's like, grab the spears.
Yeah,
grab the shield.
So funny.
Grab
Get the spears. Get the spear. Use the I was
I
like,
know.
oh my God.
Such a little sniveling idiot. Like, you're like, fuck, man. Like, why don't you do something? No, he's just yelling at everybody to do stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
So then, yes, let me just wrap this up quickly. So they are reunited as a family, and basically what's decided, because of all of the murder that has happened, technically Odysseus sort of chooses to be exiled, and Penelope obviously chooses to go with him, which means that Telemachus winds up becoming king of Ithaca. And that is kind of how they like wrap the story up, essentially. And that's sort of how everything ends for everybody in like a happier, more content sort of way. Okay. Are there any other beats or scenes or anything that we want to like highlight?
I want to talk about the whole like epiphany that he has. So like before all of this ensues, like the next morning, like where Penelope says, okay, tournament, y'all can fight to the death. She says she wants to sit with the stranger, so played by Odysseus, and he sits down and she says, oh, you knew my husband, you fought at Troy together. And so he's talking to her and he's visualizing Athena, and he's actually speaking to Athena. And I thought this was what made this movie so great, this whole scene. It was like a culmination of every moment led up to this. And so I was wondering why they were showing the Trojan War in so much detail. Because I was like, it's not really part of the story. It's just kind of like, it's kind of the end of the war. So why are they like backtracking and showing that Odysseus was the one who had the idea about the Trojan horse? And throughout the entire movie, they keep talking about Zeus's law. Yeah. And so in the story, Zeus's law is basically a law of hospitality. If somebody comes into your home, you're supposed to welcome them. You're not supposed to threaten them. And it works both ways, like you're both supposed to just kind of put your arms down, break bread together, and then, whatever differences you have, you settle kind of on whatever battlefield you have. And so throughout the story, they also talk about the people from the sea who are coming in and like causing, a lot of strife. And what really got me thinking was our current situation today, in 2026, why make this adaptation and why put so much emphasis on this aspect of it? And so basically what Odysseus says is that because he had the idea of the Trojan horse and they showed it, he broke Zeus's law first. And that was why all the shit happened to him. It wasn't because of, the Cyclops and this. Yes, that added to it because he pissed off all the other gods on top of it.
Yes.
But what really happened was that Agamemnon sacrificed his little girl to have success in this Trojan War. But it wasn't like a war of revenge or a war like in the way that back in the day these stories would have been kind of waged. It was because he was trying to like win all the trade routes and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was for money. It was for like material things. It was for power. It wasn't like for honor. It wasn't for like, kind of the basic rules of men. Like it was just for a grab of like more power, more money, more whatever. And so the fact that he sacrificed his daughter, who then, in my opinion, is then materialized by Athena, like she represents her in the way she kind of looks, it kind of then triggers like a whole sequence of events where Agamemnon is in the wrong, aided by Odysseus, who breaks Zeus's law, which is like, so now they've both broken very, very fundamental laws by which ancient Greece kind of operates to ensure some level of like humanity and democratic rule, if you will. And so from there, it's not just that he's being punished by the gods, because I think it becomes very apparent throughout this movie that Odysseus doesn't really put much clout in the gods. It's himself. He knows that he's betrayed himself, his people, everything that he abides by. And when they say the people from the sea is you, it's because he broke a fundamental law that then triggered a chain reaction where everybody said, I no longer have to listen to this anymore.
Yeah.
None of this matters. And so if we don't abide by the laws that we all constructed as a society, then who's holding anybody accountable, and does it actually matter anymore? And if you want to look outside of what's going on politically and socially these days, I think it's quite a good reflection of what they were showing in this movie.
It's interesting timing because like obviously they started filming this probably 2 years ago minimum.
I have no idea.
Right, probably
I would
before all of
assume.
this crap started, and it is very, very interesting timing. Like you just
Very
mentioned.
poignant.
It's just strange how things repeat over
I know,
and over again,
right?
isn't it? Anyway, yeah.
Hey, Will. Right for the last episode, you guys were talking about why the Greek stories keep coming back was because fucking things keep happening, and it's over and over again, and we don't learn from history.
History repeats itself over and over again. That's a little bit sad. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I kept thinking about that when I was watching this movie. I'm like, the Greek Empire fell, the Roman Empire fell.
Yes,
like,
it did.
We never learn because we all get too fucking greedy, and we can't just let everybody live on their little desert islands and have their goats.
No, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Every major reign throughout history and stuff like that has had an Agamemnon who goes too far with it and who's willing to sacrifice absolutely everything to get what they want, and it never quite pays off for them the way that they expect it to. Yeah, they win that war. And then they go home and their wife fucking kills them in bed.
Yeah.
So.
And he fucking deserved it too.
Agreed. But I do think that that's really great. And I do like that you made that point because I do think that you're probably right. And the Zendaya character is more than likely physically supposed to represent his daughter who he sacrificed to the gods.
I didn't think of it that way, but it makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. Okay.
Yeah, they showed the little girl twice, and then they showed Zendaya right away after, and I'm like, oh, I know what you're doing here.
Yeah. No, it's true. It does make a lot more sense. Performances. Do we want to highlight specific people or anything in their particular portrayal of characters? I mean, we've all kind of talked about Robert Pattinson. I think we can agree that Antinous is kind of a standout in a way, but who else for you guys?
I was completely enthralled by, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but Elliot Page in the underworld sequence and everything. So fucking incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He was very, very good.
Yeah.
I think it was just the way that they kept shooting the scenes because we don't see his face at all. But I thought Agamemnon did a great job.
I was telling that to Megan. I'm like, they did everything possible to not show his face.
I know.
don't understand
it's because
why.
He's supposed to represent like the shitty part of the empire. He's not really supposed to represent himself.
Yeah.
You get the representation of him through like the explanations by Odysseus and Menelaus and other types
he had like
characters.
really cool armor and everything. He really stood out.
That's a highlight of the film.
Character.
Yeah. He cuts a very imposing figure. They did shout out to the costume department for like everything, but especially for that. They did such a fantastic job with making him such an imposing looking figure, which was very cool. I thought that was awesome. I really liked John Leguizamo as Eumaeus. I thought that he did such an excellent job. It's so funny because, in all the other stuff I've seen him in, I wouldn't have necessarily felt that he could be very well suited to something like this. But I thought he really played this character very well. I really liked it.
The second in command, Odysseus is second in command.
Yes, is it Eurycles? What is his name? I don't remember now.
I think it is Eurycles.
Yeah, Hamish Patel. Anyway,
did a great job.
Watson.
Yeah,
Watson. I mean, Circe did a fantastic job.
Yes.
I mean, we can't. I mean, obviously, like I think the main cast, like Anne Hathaway and Matt Damon, did a fantastic job. Like I think that kind of goes without saying. But like the other minor characters, there was what's his name? Did a really good job. I don't know his name, but he was the Punisher.
Oh, John Bernthal is Menelaus.
Oh, yeah.
He
was great.
Yeah, he was also very good at that as that character as well. Unfortunately, I feel like Lupita Nyong'o was sort of underutilized in the film,
much.
Which is too bad, even in spite of the fact that she had a dual role as Helen of Troy and Clytemnestra. So that's unfortunate because everybody's well aware of how talented she is. So that's kind of too bad. I felt bad. I was sort of hoping for more, and it kind of looks. I saw a couple of other clips online. It looks like part of her role was cut a little bit.
I wondered that. I wondered if that was the case because I feel like, the fact that they covered so much about the Trojan War, I was almost like, hey, if we're like spending all this time on the war, why don't you like throw in something about Helen?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's too bad that we didn't kind of get more than that. But anyway.
Strange.
Yeah. But yes, I think that for me anyway, I think those were like probably the main standouts of the cast for sure. There's like a lot and there's too much going on because there's too many people. Too many people. Yeah, and I kept doing it, and that was what kind of made it weird for me, is that I kept being like, oh, that's this person from this thing that I watch or that I have watched, and that's this person from this thing that I watch or that I have watched. And I was like, God damn it, Megan. Okay.
What about the guy who was like the other shitty suitor?
Oh, yes, I've also definitely seen him in some other stuff as well. The guy who was always with Robert Pattinson's character of Antinous, and I cannot remember what the character's name is. Apologies.
I can't either, but he also did a great job at being hateable.
He did. Actually, I found like a lot of the folks that were like the various different soldiers who were with Odysseus, as well as the suitors, I thought were all great. The ones who are sent to pretend to be the priests.
Corey Hawkins.
Corey Hawkins. Okay, thank you. Can you like look at what he's
He was in a bunch of stuff, man. He was in The Color Purple.
Oh.
He was in The Last Voyager of Demeter.
Oh, right, yeah.
He was in, you might know that one, Dust. He was in Kong Skull Island. He was in The Walking Dead for a couple of episodes, but whatever it is, He was in Iron Man 3.
Wow.
But no, he's known. He's done a bunch of shit.
Well, that's exactly what it is as well, right? Like I had noticed at one point, that's it. One of the soldiers, who has no lines in this film, by the way, was played by, I think it's, is it Joanna Depo or Jovana Depo, who is in Three Body Problem and Welcome to Derry.
Yeah.
As well. And then you pointed out one or two other people also that you were like, who is this person?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, there was the guy who looks like Tom Holland, but like the miniature version of Tom Holland.
I don't know.
The one who goes upstairs and is throwing the spears down at the end.
Oh, yes, Logan Marshall Green.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, he's great.
Yes. He's also great. He's in a ton of stuff. You pointed out Mentor there, who was working with Telemachus. You were like, who is that? That guy looks really familiar. He's Ryan Hurst. His name's Ryan Hurst. He played Opie in Sons of Anarchy. Like, it's just a bunch of people.
He looked like the guy from Sons of Anarchy. Yeah.
He was in Sons of Anarchy. So just all the people.
And then there were, to your point, the priests, the main priest impersonator.
Yes.
I don't know what he's been in, but I certainly recognized him from stuff.
Yes. Gosh, yeah, 100%. Everyone. That's the confusing part of it, is that you're like, oh my God, I don't even know anymore. There's just a lot of them. But yeah, anyway, overall, yeah, I would say obviously a very successful adaptation, and just like an overall really enjoyable theater experience is probably what the big part of it is, more than anything else. I kind of agree. Like I sit in like I lean towards the more positive. Like I don't necessarily know that it's a movie that I'd watch again, but it was very interesting. And obviously they did a brilliant job with so many different aspects of the story. So
did you guys watch it in IMAX?
No.
Nah.
No, we didn't either. And I was wondering about that, because apparently it really they did a lot of effort to make it IMAX.
I'm sure that it looks phenomenal.
No,
obviously.
they did. It's funny. I remember reading a tweet about this, that Tom Holland thought that he was not doing a good job.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because the director kept cutting him every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
He only then learned that IMAX cameras run for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You have to stop.
And you have to stop. It's fucking hilarious.
So I think he thought he was doing a bad job.
Yeah, there's actually like I said, like seriously, go on IMDb, read some of the trivia of this movie. There's a lot of shit that they've done that is absolutely incredible. They created a box that silences IMAX cameras to capture the dialogue, because they're so fucking loud.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You have to dub the dialogue just everywhere. You have to. You cannot do dialogue and IMAX shooting at the same time. You have to always dub it.
Oh wow.
So they have to create technology in order to have that happen. Because of the arm and how huge it is, the IMAX camera is absolutely ginormous, and it's fucking heavy.
Yeah.
They had to create systems of mirrors so that people can see each other who are on the other side of the camera, so they can interact while they're acting. It's fucking wild, the things that they've done for this movie.
Wow.
I saw a little like interview with Robert Pattinson about because he was never on the boats. He was never in any of the scenes. True. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he was saying that like he was like all warm and cozy in the hotel, and like he would just see all the people coming back like from filming the boat scenes, and he was like, "What the fuck is going on, guys?"
They're all like wet and miserable, and he's like, "Are you okay? What's happening?
Is everyone good?
Yeah.
How was everyone's day?"
Apparently, they had to learn real rowing.
Oh wow!
And boating, not the movie kind, but the real kind.
Yeah.
In order to do.
Oh, no wonder everybody's in such good shape. Jesus, that's
hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I don't know if you noticed this, but I don't know if they did it like with special effects, but they were like making it like quite obvious that the men were like losing weight as they were like progressing.
I did
in
notice that a
the
little
journey.
bit.
Like
Yep.
the attention to detail in this movie was like really good.
No, seriously, that's what I'm saying. The technical aspect of this movie, when they're gonna release it on Blu-ray or whatever the fuck,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really want to watch the special features
Oh,
because
sure.
there's so many things there. Like one of the costume designers studied how salt and sun affects the clothing that were done in that time, and she
Wow.
degraded it
Nice.
from the main character so that it works, so that it looks real. Like
That's
it's
awesome.
fucking insane.
Wow.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it deserves a ton of accolades, I think.
Oh,
for the-
100%.
especially for the behind the scenes.
Yeah,
aspects
behind the
of
scenes.
it, and like how
Everything that is
many-
technical, it's
Yeah. how many people put in so much work. So Yeah.
The Oscars are all going to be about the Odyssey. Let's just call it the
Oh, yeah.
Odyssey this year. Never mind
Yes.
the Oscars.
yeah, it'll be the
Odyssey.
subtitle. The Oscars, the
Nice.
Odyssey will be the
Mhm.
subtitle of it this year. Oh boy. Okay. So I think everybody overall enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people hated it. That's fine. Whatever. You're entitled to, I suppose. But I think it would be hard to call this a bad film. Anyway. Yeah. Oh boy. Anyway, thank you, Arthur, for hopping on with us.
You're welcome. I'm out of here. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Go away.
Wow.
Rude.
Oh boy. It's a good thing this whole thing isn't on video. Anyway, stick around. We've got other stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. I think there are other adaptations dropping in the next few months. I think things are going to get pretty crazy. So we're probably going to have a lot coming your way. So that will be interesting. You can check all of it out on our socials, of course. We're at fullybooked.ca everywhere. Also check out the website at fullybooked.ca. We have reviews, we have lists, we have recommendations, we have so very many things, as well as a whole backlog of episodes that you can listen to should you choose to do so as well. But until next time, guys, keep on reading.
Thanks, everyone.
Ciao, guys.
This message is brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Venture X offers the premium benefits you expect, like a $300 annual Capital One travel credit for less than you expect. Elevate your earn with unlimited double miles on every purchase, bringing you one step closer to your next dream destination. Plus, enjoy access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. The Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.